Hello, my name is Matilda, and this is the part of our program called Constellation of the Month. Have you ever wondered how constellations got their names? Most of the ones we use today are Latin, locked in during the Greco-Roman era. But their stories? They stretch way further back in time. Ancient civilizations looked up and saw animals, heroes, and mythical creatures written in the stars. Take Orion, for example, named after a legendary hunter. The Greeks gave him a name, but the idea of a mighty figure chasing prey across the sky? That goes back even earlier, to Babylonian mythology and beyond. Of course, not all constellations are ancient. Some are modern inventions. Telescopium, the telescope, is basically astronomy's way of saying, we needed a name, and we like telescopes. By the 1800s, the night sky was a bit of a mess. Overlapping constellations, competing star charts, and cosmic confusion. So in 1930, the International Astronomical Union stepped in, like celestial referees, and officially named 88 constellations to cover the whole sky. Order restored. Now about the zodiac. People love checking their horoscopes, but here's a secret. Astronomers don't treat the zodiac like VIPs. The 12 zodiac constellations are only special because the sun, moon, and planets travel through them, along a path called the ecliptic. Ancient sky watchers noticed these wandering stars moving through fixed constellations and figured something mystical was going on. But for modern astronomy, they're just part of the crowd. No velvet ropes, no backstage passes. So while the zodiac might steal the spotlight, this month's featured constellation has wings, history, and a whole lot of star power. Let's take a closer look. I will turn the meeting over to my partner and close friend, Harry, who will talk about this month's constellation. Please give him your full attention. Take it away, Harry.
Hello, TSA members and guests. This is Joe Inglewood. I am filling in for Harry, who is on vacation. This month, Harry asked that I talk with you about the constellation Pegasus, the winged horse. Pegasus is the seventh largest constellation, taking up nearly 1,200 square degrees of space in the night sky. One way to locate it is to find the pointer stars in the Big Dipper, follow them right through Polaris over the top of the sky, through Cassiopeia, and down the other side where you find Pegasus. It sits in an area of the sky that is mostly populated by dimmer stars, but has four reasonably bright stars of its own: Markab, Shi'at, Algenib, and Alpheratz, which form the Great Square of Pegasus. Of the many stars in Pegasus, 8 are known to have planets of their own. In fact, other than our Sun, 51 Pegasi was the first star ever known to have a planet. Pegasus was originally mentioned and enumerated by Ptolemy in the 2nd century, and it is one of the original 48 constellations that he wrote down. It got its name from the famed winged horse named Pegasus from Greek mythology, who was born after Perseus beheaded Medusa and her blood mixed with seawater to create Pegasus. The horse was mortal, but on the last day of its life, because of its lifelong service to Perseus and Andromeda, it was made into a constellation. In this constellation can be found one of the oldest globular clusters, M15, which is around 12 billion years old and 33,600 light-years away from Earth. M15 has more than 100,000 stars, including variable stars, pulsars, and a double neutron star system, as well as being home to a planetary nebula. Pegasus has quite a number of named galaxies in it, many of which have NGC numbers. These include NGC-1, the very first entry in the NGC catalog, and galaxies 7317 through 7320, also known as Stephan's Quintet. Rich in galaxies, It has one thing that no other constellation has: Einstein's cross, a visual anomaly caused by gravitational lensing. The brightest star in the Great Square, Alpheratz, isn't in the constellation Pegasus. It's in Andromeda, which is just northeast of Pegasus. It is part of the ancient sky picture that we know as Pegasus, but when astronomers drew the official boundaries for the constellations, this star was placed just across the line in Andromeda. The brightest star in the constellation is Markab, which means the saddle. It is at the southwestern corner of the Great Square. At another corner is Beta Pegasi. Beta means it should be the second brightest star in Pegasus, and sometimes it is. The star pulses in and out like a beating heart. When it pulses out, its surface cools, so it gets fainter. When it squeezes back in, it gets hotter, so it glows brighter, making it Pegasus's brightest star. Another star in Pegasus, 2 Pegasi, produced a monster flare a few years ago, a powerful explosion on its surface that generated a torrent of energy and charged particles. The flare was 100 million times more powerful than a typical flare on our Sun. If Earth orbited 2 Pegasi, such a monster would obliterate our ozone layer and alter the climate, and probably kill much of the planet's life. The star's magnetic field may be energized by a nearby companion star, which causes 2 Pegasi to spin on its axis once every 7 days, versus about 29 days for our Sun. This fast rotation may keep the star's internal layers in high-speed motion, generating a powerful magnetic field that produces flares and other storms. Pegasus lays claim to just one meteor shower, the Pegasids, which occurs every year between the 7th and 13th of July. It is typically a weak shower which only produces around 3 meteors per hour. They are very fast, though, in the order of 45 miles per second. In general, the debris entering Earth's atmosphere is very small, and no more than the size of a grain of sand. Thank you for your attention. As you look up into the night sky, look for Pegasus, the winged horse. Now back to our chairperson.